My wife said she needed space to focus on herself. 1 week later, she posted a photo with him. Hi, my name's Alex. I'm 32 years old, and until a few weeks ago, I thought I understood what it meant to be someone's husband. I thought I knew what commitment was, what it meant to be in love, what it meant to fight through the hard days, not just ride the easy ones. Turns out, I didn't know a damn thing. My wife, Claire, is 30. We've been together for 7 years, married for almost 4. She's always been grounded. That's the best word I can find. She's thoughtful, calm, emotionally intelligent. She could walk into a room full of chaos and somehow create quiet. That's one of the things I admired about her most. Her ability to stay centered even when things around her weren't. Our relationship wasn't perfect. No one's is. But it was good. Or at least I thought it was. We had our routines, our little rituals, Sunday morning pancakes, long walks in the park behind our apartment, wine and dumb movies Fridays. It wasn't fireworks every day, but it felt like home. It felt real. Until 3 weeks ago, when she came home from work and said she needed space. I remember that night vividly, not because she was angry or emotional. Quite the opposite, actually. She was eerily calm. She said she wasn't sure who she was anymore, that she needed to take some time to reconnect with herself, that she was feeling lost and didn't want to hurt me by pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. At first, I respected it. I thought, okay, maybe she's going through something. Maybe this is just a phase. Maybe all she really needs is to clear her head. I mean, people do that, right? Take a few days, go hiking, journal, think things through. It's not the end of the world. We've always supported each other's mental health. I told her I understood. I didn't. But I said I did, because that's what you do when you love someone. So she packed a small bag, kissed me on the forehead, and said she'd be staying at her sister's for a bit. But that's not where she went. 1 week later, I opened Instagram, and that's when everything shattered. I wasn't even looking for it. I wasn't checking up on her, scrolling through her feed like some desperate, paranoid husband. The truth is, I was just bored, trying to distract myself from the silence in the apartment, from the empty spot on the couch where she usually curled up, from the stillness of the closet where a few of her jackets still hung, like ghosts. I opened Instagram out of muscle memory, just to kill a minute, and there it was. A photo, bright, golden, cheerful. Claire, smiling in the sunlight, sunglasses perched on her head, her hand resting lightly on a man's shoulder. They were standing in front of a vineyard, glasses of wine in their hands. That signature smile she gave only when she was truly, deeply relaxed, the one I hadn't seen in weeks. And the caption? Sometimes clarity comes when you stop pretending. My heart didn't sink. It exploded, like something inside me just stopped working. I stared at the screen for a solid 5 minutes, not moving, not breathing, barely even blinking. At first, my brain tried to make excuses. Maybe it's an old photo, maybe it's her cousin, maybe it's part of some event. But no, the photo was tagged. A winery I knew wasn't anywhere near her sister's house. The guy was tagged too, someone I'd never heard of. His profile was public. I clicked. Of course I did. And there he was, smiling in more pictures with Claire over the last week, a sunset boat ride, a cozy-looking Airbnb with a hot tub, her jacket hanging on the back of a patio chair in one of his stories. Little details only I would notice, only I could recognize. She hadn't gone to clear her head. She'd gone on a romantic getaway with someone else. 1 week after telling me she needed space to focus on herself, she was wrapped up in someone else's arms, looking free, light, like she hadn't carried the weight of a 7-year relationship at all. And that's when the betrayal fully hit me. Not like a punch, not like a scream, more like a slow, suffocating choke. A mix of rage and grief and total confusion. I started questioning everything. Was she already seeing him before she left? Was this the real reason she needed space? Did she ever actually love me? But here's the twisted part. I didn't confront her right away. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I just shut down. I turned off my phone, closed the curtains, sat in the dark. For the first time in my adult life, I felt completely hollow, like I was watching someone else's life fall apart and couldn't do a thing about it. People always say heartbreak hurts, but they never talk about the part that comes after. The days when you wake up and for half a second everything feels normal, until it hits you again. That sharp sting in your chest, the flash of her smile, the wine glass, the guy's hand on her back, the silence in your apartment that used to be filled with laughter. I didn't sleep for 3 nights after that. I think the worst part wasn't the cheating. It was the silence after. No message, no apology, no explanation. She just kept posting pictures like nothing happened, like she hadn't left behind a 7-year relationship without even the decency of a proper conversation. For a while I kept hoping she'd reach out. Maybe she'd confess, maybe say it was a mistake, that she panicked, that she didn't know how to tell me the truth, so she ran. But the days kept passing. She was out there living her new life, and I was stuck in the ruins of our old one. Every morning felt like trying to walk through fog. I couldn't eat. I couldn't focus at work. I didn't want to see anyone, talk to anyone, explain anything. People noticed, of course. My coworker, Sam, he pulled me aside one afternoon and asked if I was okay. I gave the usual answer. Just tired. But it wasn't just tired. It was emptiness. Eventually, I told my closest friend, Jordan. We've known each other since college. I trust him with everything. And his reaction? He just sat there for a few seconds, then muttered, "What a cold-blooded way to end things." Exactly. Cold. That's the word I kept circling back to. Claire hadn't just left and she'd iced me out of her life entirely, like I never mattered in the first place. But here's where it gets worse. A mutual friend, someone we both knew from her old yoga group, sent me a message one night. It said, "Hey, I know this might be weird, but I thought you should know. Claire's been talking about this guy for months now. She told us they were just friends, but I don't think that was the case." Months. That word hit me like a sledgehammer. Not days, not weeks, months. While I was planning our future, saving for a down payment, looking at wedding venues, she was planning something else entirely. It was never about needing space. It was never about her trying to figure things out. She already had. She just didn't have the courage to tell me the truth. And when I finally put all the pieces together, the late nights at work, the sudden disinterest in talking about the wedding, the way she avoided intimacy in the last couple of months, I realized I had been blind for too long, willfully blind maybe, because I didn't want to believe the woman I loved could lie to me like that. I wish I could say I confronted her and got closure, that I screamed or cried or demanded answers, but I didn't, not yet. Instead, I started journaling, writing everything down, every thought, every theory, every memory of when things started to feel off. I needed to make sense of it all, and somehow writing gave me that tiny sliver of control. And through all of this, I kept asking myself the same question. How do you grieve someone who's still alive and clearly doesn't miss you? It took me almost 2 months before I finally texted her. Just one line. "Can we talk?" I stared at the message for 10 minutes before hitting send. My hands were shaking. I didn't even know what I wanted from her. An apology? An explanation? A chance to scream in her face? Maybe all of that. Maybe none of it. She replied 4 hours later, "I think that's not a good idea." And that was it. No sorry, no are you okay, no emotion, just a wall. I sat there, phone in hand, staring at her message like it was written in a foreign language. After 7 years together, that was all I was worth to her. Not a good idea. I felt humiliated, but it was also the final push I needed. I decided I wouldn't chase closure anymore. I would take it, so I did something I didn't expect of myself. I called her sister. We'd always been close. Claire used to joke that her sister liked me more than her. and maybe there was truth to that. Because when I told her what happened, not just that Claire left, but how she went quiet for a moment, then said, "You know she started seeing that guy while you two were still living together, right?" I think my breath literally stopped. She continued, hesitant but honest. Said she didn't approve of it, had even told Claire it was wrong. But Claire's brushed her off, said, "Daniel will be fine, he's strong. He'll understand eventually." Understand? Like this was a minor misunderstanding? Like I'd just wake up one day and thank her for emotionally gutting me? It wasn't just betrayal. It was cruelty with a smile. That conversation broke something in me, but it also set something else free. The illusion, the guilt, the need to keep pretending she had some deep reason for what she did. She didn't. She just didn't care anymore. Or maybe she never did, and I was the one who cared enough for both of us. But the thing about clarity, it burns at first, but once it's done burning, you see things a lot sharper. I started cleaning out the apartment, packed up everything that reminded me of her. The vacation mugs, the pictures, even her stupid herbal teas that she insisted we buy in bulk. I threw most of it away, gave the rest to charity. I wasn't going to carry the weight of someone who had already moved on so easily. And something interesting happened after that. I started sleeping better. I started eating again. I went out with friends. Not to forget, but just to feel human again. Even my coworkers noticed. Sam actually smiled and said, "Man, you look like you finally took off a 100-pound backpack." I did, and the more distance I got from Claire, the more I realized I wasn't mourning her. I was mourning the future I thought we'd have. And that future? It never existed in her mind, only in mine. I wish I could tell you that I moved on like it was some cinematic montage. That after a few drinks with friends and a couple of gym sessions, I was back to being the old me. But that's not how heartbreak works. Some mornings, I'd wake up feeling almost okay, even hopeful, and then something stupid would bring me back to the pit. A song on the radio, someone mentioning weekend plans, or just walking past that cafe where we used to sit for hours pretending the world didn't exist. I hated how many things still carried her fingerprints. But with time, they faded, not erased, just quieter. A few weeks after that call with her sister, I got a message from Claire. No subject, just, "I didn't handle things the right way. I'm sorry." And honestly, I didn't feel anything when I read it. No anger, no relief, just nothing. It was too little, way too late. And it wasn't even about me. It was her trying to clear her conscience. I didn't respond. What was there to say? Instead, I closed my laptop, walked to a nearby park, sat on a bench, and let the wind hit my face. It was cold, refreshing, real. That's when it really hit me. How much of myself I'd lost in that relationship. Not because she asked me to, but because I kept giving, believing love was about sacrifice. I'd shrunk parts of myself to make space for her dreams, her needs, her comfort. And when she left, all those empty spaces echoed. But now, I was starting to fill them again, with things that were mine. I picked up photography, something I used to love in college, but dropped because Claire thought it was a waste of money. I started hiking again. I even signed up for a weekend trip with strangers, just to push myself out of the house. And during one of those hikes, something unexpected happened. I met someone. Not in a romantic comedy kind of way. Just two people walking the same trail, talking about their messy pasts, laughing about bad takeout, pausing to admire the view. It was simple. It was human. It was enough. We still talk sometimes. No labels, no expectations. Just two people who've been broken and stitched themselves back together, one scar at a time. I guess what I've learned is this. Sometimes the person you build a life with turns out to be a stranger wearing a mask. And when that mask falls off, it hurts. But it's also a gift. Because now you can finally stop lying to yourself. So no, I don't hate Claire. I don't wish her pain. But I'm done protecting the memory of someone who never protected me. If you're reading this and going through something similar, someone you trusted choosing someone else, leaving you with 1,000 unanswered questions, just know it's not your fault. Their betrayal says more about them than it ever will about you. And no matter how shattered you feel right now, you will be okay. Not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. You'll wake up one day, take a deep breath, and realize you survived. And that, my friend, is enough. Update. I didn't think this post would get any attention when I first wrote it. Honestly, it was more of a way to just scream into the void and get everything off my chest. But instead, the void screamed back with kindness. Thousands of strangers showed up to say, "You're not crazy, you were betrayed, and you deserve better." So first of all, thank you, genuinely. I read every comment. Some made me laugh, some made me cry, but all of them made me feel less alone. A lot of people have asked for an update, so here it is. It's been a few months since that whole mess exploded, and I'll be real, it was rough at first. There were nights I couldn't sleep, mornings where I didn't want to get out of bed. I questioned everything, my judgment, my self-worth, even whether love was something I'd ever want again. But something amazing happened. Life moved on, and so did I. I started putting myself first for the first time in years. I reconnected with old friends I'd slowly drifted from during my relationship. Turns out they were still there, just waiting for me to show up again. I took a trip, solo, just me, my camera, and a completely unfamiliar city. It wasn't glamorous. I got lost a lot, burned the roof of my mouth on street food, and slept in a hostel with paper-thin walls. But I felt more alive in those few days than I had in the last 2 years. I even started therapy, something I used to roll my eyes at. But it helped. A lot. I unpacked not just the breakup, but the patterns that got me there. The way I kept shrinking myself. The way I mistook sacrifice for love. The way I confused being needed with being loved. And I'm not perfect now. I still flinch at certain memories. Some songs still sting, but I'm better, stronger, wiser, and lighter. Now, some common questions I saw in the comments. Did your wife and the guy she posted with end up together? From what I've heard through mutuals, they tried dating. Not sure how long it lasted, but the last I heard, it fizzled. Can't say I was surprised. Relationships built on betrayal rarely last. Would you ever take her back? Absolutely not. Even if she showed up at my door tomorrow, sobbing with apologies, I'd wish her well and close the door. I've made peace with what happened, but I also know my worth now. Do you think you'll ever trust again? Yes. Cautiously, but yes. I've met some incredible people lately, not romantically, just human connection. And they've shown me that trust doesn't have to be blind. It can be built slowly with care and reciprocity. Any advice for someone going through something similar? Yes. Don't chase closure from the person who hurt you. You'll never get the version that heals you. Give yourself the grace to grieve. Lean on your people. And remember that healing isn't linear. Some days will feel like you're back at square one. That's okay. You're still moving forward, even when it doesn't feel like it. I guess I'll end this the same way I ended my original post. If you're reading this and hurting, I see you, I was you. And one day, you'll look back on this pain not with fondness, but with gratitude, because it showed you what you deserve. And that is everything.